You've heard about human trafficking, but do you realize that it's happening right here in the U.S.? Just last year, the FBI rescued more than 100 teenagers from a sex trafficking ring, 3 of them from Birmingham. That's less than 300 miles from us. iHeartWorld is a nonprofit organization established to bring awareness to what's happening right here in our backyard. And the founders, Susan and Brian Russo, are here this morning. So I mentioned sex trafficking and human trafficking, and these are different but also the same. Would you explain?
Yeah, absolutely. Human trafficking is basically the exploitation of people through force, fraud, or coercion, whether through sexual exploitation or labor exploitation. So sex trafficking is actually a form of human trafficking, which is essentially modern-day slavery.
Okay, and again, this is happening right here. And when I think about victims being taken for trafficking, I think about another world or another country across the world, and I think about just women, children being taken right off of the street. Is that how victims are being taken here in the U.S.?
Well, it can actually it can look in multiple different forms. For example, in the States, there was a lady in Indiana that was selling a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old out on Craigslist for sex, and she was getting men that were responding to this ad. And so, if the demand is there, the supply will need to be there. So, you know, it can look like taken, but it also looks different here in the States, and that's just a small part of what it looks like in the States.
The scary part is this is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world next to drug trade.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why has it grown so popular? And has it recently grown popular?
It's growing in popularity and awareness, but it's been very much alive and active for a while. And you have to remember, these traffickers are businessmen, so they're smart. So essentially, you can sell a dime bag once, but if you have a girl that you're exploiting for prostitution, you can sell her over and over and over again every day of the week.
Oh my gosh! And it's a $32 billion industry.
Yeah.
That's just astounding when you read numbers and you really start going in and reading about trafficking, and again, it being right here in our backyard. Some of the things that you're going to read and you're going to hear about will really open your eyes. And speaking of, you guys want to open our eyes to it. Thursday night, you're having an event. You're going to bring awareness to human trafficking through art. It's happening at Space 301. Tell us a little bit about the artwork.
So we have an artist, her name is Destiny Hoffman, and she is a local artist and also a fashion designer. And she approached us and said, I'd like to make 12 different art pieces that tell a fictional story of a young girl from innocence through the tragedy of trafficking and restoration, which each piece is inspired by an actual story or statistics of trafficking. So these 12 pieces, I mean, they're beautiful, they're incredible, and so they tell this story just by looking at each one, and those will be featured at our gala to educate people just by looking at the art as well.
And there's going to be a silent auction, and they'll be available you can bid on those at the silent auction. So that will be really neat to have those. I know a lot of thought went into those. Other artwork that's going to be there?
Well, aside from the artwork, we'll have like a live walkthrough experience where people can see what trafficking looks like, not just around the world, but in the States itself. So we have an exhibit with a bunch of infographics that'll be hanging that really just explain the foundation of what you need to know about trafficking, signs to look for, all of that stuff, but then also like a mock brothel, so to speak, that we're actually replicating a picture that we saw in a law enforcement training so that people see what it looks like in the States.
It is very important. You guys are going to have some light hors d'oeuvres. You guys are asking for a $35 donation from each person who attends. Now, you are trying to combat trafficking here in the Gulf Coast area, so how will the money raised be used to do that?
Right. Do you want to share on that?
Sure. Well, we believe that to fight this issue, it is a two-sided sword. You have to have, obviously, aftercare to rescue girls that are coming out of the life, but also prevention. And we believe that begins first and foremost with training, law enforcement, social services, educators, and what we are working towards is providing that training in our area to train social workers. They say that 70% of victims of domestic minor sex trafficking, which is U.S. citizens under the age of 18 who've been exploited sexually, 70% of them have come through the foster care system. So that just shows you how important it is for social service workers to know about the issue. So we're working on training and then community awareness, and then eventually some youth outreach programs to help educate young people, not just on the issue of trafficking, but on their worth, that they deserve more than that, than they're worth more than that.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like a wonderful thing you guys are doing. So the I Heart World Awareness Experience silent auction again Thursday night, 7 o'clock at Space 301. You can get tickets online. Just go to our Studio 10 page on fox10tv.com. Educate yourself, help raise awareness, because human trafficking is a problem that is not going to end unless we all take a stand against it together. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.